What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new tactic video. Today, it's the Broken Shadow, a tactic dedicated to using free shadow strikers, a tactic that actually performed really well. A 98% win rate and scored over 3.45 goals a game. And you know what? It actually is a really fun tactic to use. Very different to what you have seen before. And as always, we have got three variants. We have got one balanced tactic, a slightly more attacking version, and an underdog tactic. If you do enjoy the tactics, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is completely free. And if you enjoy that much, whack that notification bell on. You'll never miss another post. So this tactic is going to be built purely off the create your own style tactic, and we are simply going to load in a basic 4-2-2. I would like to take a quick second just to say that this mentality is going to be changed to attacking. We're going to change that before we go over anything else, just to make it very, very clear, a clean slate on the attacking mentality. Of course, if you want to get access to all three of these tactics today, you can do so by joining the Patreon. Not only are you going to get those, you're going to get the console tactics, the mobile tactics, all of my rebuild files, the rebuild tactic files, priority in the request, one-on-one tactical help, and access to this month's giveaway, which is over £400. You can come over and sign up in the link below. Also, you'll see it on your screen with all the perks nicely displayed. But let's go through and talk through this amazing tactic. So we are going to kick things off with the goalkeeper, where I have personally gone and chosen a sweeper keeper, this time on defend, and we are going to have no custom instructions on him. I rarely do add instructions onto goalkeepers when they're not needed, and that is why he is going to remain nice and simple. Now, going over to the wing backs, we are going to have them on support. That is going to be the same for the right and also the left hand side, so we're going to apply that to both of them nice and easy. Now we are going to have some instructions. They are going to consist of close down more and also tackle harder. That is going to be the same for the left hand side and also the right hand side. We will go and make that change right now. So the idea between these wing backs are to really have wingbacks that can defend but also get forwards, close down more, play quite aggressive. You'll see it quite a lot with this tactic. It's quite an aggressive system. And that is because the idea is to win the ball back as quickly as we can and pretty much get them shadow strikers doing what they do best, and that is creating and scoring chances. Now, going over to both of the ball playing defenders, a little spoiler there, we are going to obviously change both of them to that role, and they are going to naturally have exactly the same instructions. Close down more and also tackle harder, and that's also going to be replicated with the player next to him. So an entire aggressive back line that will be putting in challenges and really getting stuck in. Of course, if you are saying, Josh, I'm getting so many bookings, what is going on? You would simply remove tackle harder or the close down more. You can only really play this style of football to a point where if you're getting 3 or 4 yellow cards a game, it's not going to be for you. But for me, we didn't really run into that situation at all. Yes, we got the occasional booking, but just use your brain a little bit. Obviously, if you've got a centre back on a booking and you've got a really good centre back on the bench, bring him on. You can get another yellow card. So little things like that you have to obviously be aware of and make sure you are using in the game. Now, going over to both of the midfield players, we are going to partner up with 2 DMs who are both going to be on support. Now, the reason and the thought process behind this is because we obviously are going to have 3 attacking players, 3 shadow strikers, so I want protection and I want them to be doing the exact same as the back line, which is going to be pressing very intensely and also putting in a challenge. So they are also going to be on close down more and tackle harder, which means as soon as they enter our half, they're going to have the DMs applying a lot of pressure. If they don't get the job done, the ball playing defenders will come in and create a successful challenge, and in the wide areas the wing backs will get the job done. The DMs will naturally drift out and put a challenge in as well, so it's going to be very hard for anyone to really get to our goal because they've got so much pressure as soon as they touch the ball. Now, of course, the whole idea behind this tactic was having a shadow striker based system, so we are going to instantly change all of these to shadow strikers, and it will shape up a bit like a 4-2-3-1. And what actually benefits that and makes it even more like a 4-2-3-1 is we are going to run wide with the ball when the player has it. Not naturally, so when the player is just not on the ball, he will be sitting quite narrow. Obviously, if you do want to get around that and have more of a 4-2-3-1 shape, you can also have him on stay wider. But for me, when he has the ball, run wide with it, act a little bit like a winger. When you're out of possession, sit narrow and nice and compact. And in the middle, we are actually going to go with a basic shadow striker, no custom instructions. And to finish it off, to link up the play a little bit, we are going to go with a complete forward on support. Yes, you could use a false 9. That would be a really good example of an alternative. And we are going to go with shoot less often when it comes to the shooting, because in this tactic, apart from one of the tests, which is going to be with Napoli, the shadow striker's done majority of the goal scoring. So it's a nice way of playing football and really, really effective. Now, let's go over and let's get into the team instructions. So we are going to, of course, go over into the in possession. This is going to remain exactly the same in terms of the fairly wide. We are going to focus down the left and the right hand side while playing out from the back. We're going to run at defence. We're going to have mixed crosses selected. And when it comes to the passing, we're actually going to leave it on standard, with the tempo being all the way maxed out. Again, it is going to be a very aggressive way of playing football. In transition, we are going to counter press. We're going to counter. And I've actually gone with long goal kicks because we've got 3 shadow strikers, we've got a complete forward, we've got 4 players up there taking up some really good positions. Make sure you're going to be hitting them, because otherwise it's a little bit of a waste. And lastly, out of possession, the high press line of engagement, the higher defensive line, get stuck in, step up more, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and also we are going to max out the trigger press. Now let's go over to the next 2 sets of results, which was going to be used with this tactic. After that, we're going to go over a slightly more attacking tactic, and then one designed purely for underdogs and to run the clock down. Let's get into the results, again, using this tactic. So with Napoli, we embarked on a fantastic season over in Italy. As you can see, not only winning the league, we are going to win the Italian Super Cup 4-1 against Inter Milan, and the Italian Cup, we batter Inter Milan 6-1. It was the only save where a striker really picked up most of the goals as well, and I simply just don't think Napoli have a good enough set of shadow strikers or attacking midfield players that can really play the role. Obviously, the likes of Kvar sacrifices a lot to actually even get a game in the system, so the tactic's not for everyone, but for someone that has got a lot of good shadow strikers or wants to play a different way of football, it's absolutely perfect. As you can see, we still dominated the league, only lost 1 game, and the stats: 148 goals, most shots, fewest shots against, fewest conceded, most clean sheets, most points per game. It was a really, really strong season, and one that I am very, very, very proud of actually bringing you the results for. The data hub is going to be consistent of 3.89 goals a game, only 0.5 conceded, over 21.6 shots, a great pass completion, and a fantastic tackle win ratio, and it does complete a treble win in the Italian season. And a game where Kvar did get some game time is going to be this Italian Cup final, where we go 1-0 up inside of pretty much the kickoff. We get things going very, very quickly, a bit of a scrappy goal there inside of 30 minutes. We then go 3-0 up there into Kvar, into Mario Roy, into the bottom right hand corner to make it 3. To make it 4, it's going to be again a bit of a scrappy set piece, sort of somewhat of a comeback from a bad set piece. Mario Roy again, just going to show how important the wingbacks can actually be. Another set piece coming in, and I will take a second to say this is why you need to go and get my set pieces, because we score all the time from them. We do go and concede a goal here from Thuram, a good bit of play to be fair, but we get the last laugh, winning 6-1 from again another almost set piece on the edge, levers it in. Also did use this default tactic with Stoke just to see how it performed with a weak team in the Championship, and we enjoyed a great season. We won the league very convincingly, only losing 3 games. Semi-finalists in the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup not as pretty, but still a very, very, very strong Sky Bet Championship season. As you can see, as I mentioned, only 3 losses. Joint first goal scorers as well, 3rd place, 3 players in the average rating. Defensively, incredibly solid over in the Championship. Most goals, most shots, fewest shots against, the fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. And I would imagine the Data Hub also paints quite a nice story. 2.8 goals a game, 0.74 conceded, 18.89 shots a match, a great pass completion, and a high 77% tackle win ratio. It really is a good season. Yes, the English Cups weren't too pretty, but when you actually scratch beneath the surface, a semi-final appearance in the Carabao Cup with Stoke City is a big result, and winning the Championship in 1 season with 0 signings is a big achievement in itself. Of course, went to the effort and made a more attacking version, so if you are playing as a powerhouse or you're struggling to score with the default, you can switch to this tactic, and of course, we are going to show some powerhouse results after this as well. The goalkeeper does remain exactly the same, a sweeper keeper on defend. Both of the ball-playing defenders also remain exactly the same. Where it starts to change is the wing-backs, both now on attack, both on cross more often, cross aim centre, run wide, stay wider, close down more, and also tackle harder. So the wingbacks are a lot more progressive now. They are going to push, and that is really the big change in this whole system. The DMs remain exactly the same, as does all of the shadow strikers, and the other key change is going to be the addition of the advanced forward. Again, another goal scorer and outlet, but to be honest with you, between me and you, a lot of the real change is done in the team instructions. So again, the clean slate on the attacking mentality, this does remain the same. This is where it gets a little bit different. So we are going to hit early crosses. We're not only going to run at defence, we're going to be more expressive. This remains exactly the same, so standard and higher, but this is where it gets pretty spicy. We're going to pass into the space, we're going to overlap left, we're going to overlap right, we're going to focus down the left and the right hand side, and also play out from the back. So what happens now is we have got a very direct approach, overlaps, running at defence, getting the ball in the box, and the shallow strikers are going to play pretty much like wingers. And the great thing is the fullbacks also, or the wingbacks should I say, also are going to be incredibly high up the pitch, and they work very well with the shallow strikers that are going to sometimes be out on the right, out on the left, but also will sit narrow when they have not got the ball, and it just creates this absolute mass of almost a centralised five. Actually, you know, you've got your shadow strikers, your wingbacks, it's a block 5 line which will all feed that advance forward, and if you've got a good striker, you're going to score a ridiculous amount of goals. In transition, we are going to counter press, we're going to counter, we're going to distribute quickly, and I've actually kept take long goal kicks on, because again, the wingback's going to even be up there sometimes, the shadow strikers will be, the advance forward is an even better reason to have long goal kicks, because he is going to make some really good in behind runs. You may as well try and find him. Out of possession, we are going to go with the high press, we're going to go with the much higher defensive line, we'll whack that all the way up to the top, we're going to step up more, we're going to get stuck in, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and we're also going to max out the trigger press simply to much more often. And that's going to give you an attacking version of this tactic. Again, a lot of fun, a lot more attacking. Let's go and see how we done with the powerhouse, which is going to be with Real Madrid. So with Real Madrid, we enjoyed a ridiculous season, to be honest. I mean, runners up in the Spanish Cup, the Spanish Super Cup, sorry. The Spanish Cup, we actually win 4-0 against Barcelona. Super Cup, we win 4-2 against Atalanta. The Champions League, we're going to win that as well against PSG. And we also win the Spanish First Division. So it is going to be a ridiculous season. I mean, it is literally 4 trophies in one season. The only thing we didn't win is that Super Cup by 1 goal, as Barcelona were a little bit too much on the day. But looking at this from this alone, it's a quadruple winning season. Then when you see the league table and you're seeing that we only lose 1 game, it's nearly 100% win rate, a 98% win rate. The stats are all in our favour: most goals, most points, most shots, fewer shots against, most dribbles, fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. Possession-wise, I will say this, and I'll make it very clear, you are going to be quite average in possession, because this is more of a gegenpress, high sort of counter-style tactic, where you're not too focused on levels of possession, but more on how many goals you're going to be scoring and how intense you are in winning the ball back. So your possession is going to be around 53% on average, but the goals, the defensive record, it speaks for itself. And the data hub is going to be 3.79 goals a game, 0.37 conceded, over 22 shots a game, a very good pass completion. An tackle win ratio, not the best of the best, but still pretty decent at 76%. So overall, a season I'm not going to complain about. A quadruple winning season, yes, if we would have won the Super Cup, it would have been 5, but a quadruple, I'll take it. And we had a great time against Barcelona. This really goes to show how good this tactic is against the big teams, with Jude Bellingham making it 1-0 inside of 20 minutes. And this is what I like to call the great Barcelona collapse. They actually concede 3 goals from the 86th minute all the way to the end. Bellingham plays it through into Vinicius to make it 2-0 in 86 minutes. We then go and score in the 89th minute with a set piece, a great ball in, a great header, and we concede, or they concede, another set piece. And I'll let you see the stats. They offered absolutely nothing for the entire game. It's absolute dominance. And this is going to be the defensive tactic / underdog tactic, the tactic that actually got Burnley 2nd place in the Premier League and won 2 English trophies. So you might want to stick around to get this one as well. Even if you're not playing as an underdog team, you can use this as a defensive tactic for your top teams or your middle class teams. Now I will say we did drop one of the shadow strikers, so hopefully you guys are okay with that, because it's a little bit more balanced like this. The goalkeeper does remain the same. The ball playing defenders are completely default now. The wing back on the right and on the left are on closed down less and marked tighter, so we've flipped the script. We've gone from this high intense pressing machine into a much more of a less sort of aggressive sit back, you come to us sort of vibe, and it worked really well with the small teams, and even defending games out, of course that is a preferred way of playing. The DMs, both on defend, both on tackle harder, nice and simple. They're going to be holding the position, they're going to be dribbling less and naturally having less shots. So the only one instruction you need is going to be that tackle harder. The shadow striker on the right and on the left do remain exactly the same, but the big change is the AM, on support on roam and move into the channels. and the complete forward simply on support on shoot less often. Now let's go over and cover the team instructions. So again, the clean slate, this time on the positive mentality. We are going to have this in the middle, set to fairly wide. We're going to pass into the space while playing out from the back. We're going to focus down the left and the right hand side of the pitch with a standard tempo, which now will be changed as we lower the passing directness down to shorter. And we are still going to run at defence because I still want a bit of an aggressive bone in our body. I still want to go out and score goals, but we are nowhere near the same intensity of the previous two tactics. In transition, we are going to counter. We're going to slow the pace down. We're going to place anyone across the back line while taking short goal kicks. So again, if you're paying attention, a big change, a lot less risky, a lot more sort of stable and a guaranteed option, not as direct almost. And lastly, out of possession, we are going to deploy the standard line, the high pressing line of engagement, and simply more often. Now, as a little heads up and a little tip, if you are using this not to go into your games with, but to run the clock down, to time waste as a defensive tactic, please time waste, you may as well, and also make sure if you've got them in all of the tactics to play for the set pieces. The amount of goals I score from set pieces with my set pieces are absolutely incredible. The centre-backs at least get 10 to 15 goals a season. They are absolutely busted, so make sure you're going to get them. And let's go and see how we done with the big Burnley. But with the big Burnley, I will be honest, it was an absolute shock because I was expecting anything inside the top 7. That would have been a big result. Now, I will say, we didn't win the Premier League, as to be expected, but we did finish in second place, and we did win the Carabao Cup. We win this 3-2 against Manchester City. Again, a very close game, and 3-0 against Blackburn in the FA Cup. So again, a very easy FA Cup final, but I am not taking anything away from myself because that is a fantastic, and I mean a fantastic set of results. Now, we are going to go and watch some of the highlights, and I will be honest, in terms of like the data hub, for example, it's not going to be as attractive. 2.79, 0.87, still actually quite good to be fair, but as a general rule, that is a ridiculous season with some really big games. And yeah, I know it is Blackburn in the final, it's a bit of an easy final, but I will showcase the goals because it is still important to see how these goals actually get scored basically. And as you can see, it is simply talent after talent. Great play, very attack and play. I know it is against a team like Blackburn, but to have this much confidence in a final is still really strong to see. And how about that for a strike? But that is going to be the breakdown of The Broken Shadow. What a lovely name. It sounds like a dark movie, doesn't it? A very sort of action-packed movie. A great tactic, a great video, hopefully you've enjoyed. A default, a defensive tactic, an attacking tactic. The whole lot going on. As always, guys, if you ever enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you want to show any love back to the channel, you can do so by joining the Patreon. Not only does it help me out, but also you get over 13 perks, 12 of those being purely if you love FM, and the big perk being, even if you don't love FM, you can get in on some pretty big giveaways. This month's £400, so I'll come over and get involved, join the other 4,800 people. It's the biggest FM community offside of YouTube, so come on over and get involved, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.